Gavin, I have a question about the church and the digital age, and specifically the metaverse, this sort of strange but increasingly ubiquitous space that people are spending time in. Is church in the metaverse an oxymoron, or is it possible?
Yeah, it is. I'm hesitant to say only negative things about technology because I feel like I'll be a hypocrite if all I do is talk about how bad technology is and it's so dangerous. Because I have a YouTube channel. I think that's a form of ministry. You know, we can use technology in limited ways for ministry, and there is good that can be had. But when I think of church, we think of the sacraments. For example, the sacraments are one of the marks of a church. You don't have a church without sacraments. So baptism and the Lord's Supper, and those are physical acts. Yeah. Church is irreducibly physical. Yeah. You need physical bodies for church because you have to have people there to get into the water or to eat the bread and wine. Yeah. And so that's just one example of where something gets lost. Yeah. If you're moving away from face-to-face bodily contact. And of course, there's so many others we could think of, but I think the driving pastoral heart that probably both of us have here is just, we don't want people to lose what is so valuable about that face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, I mean, whatever your theology of the sacraments may be, what is undeniable is that they are physical, tactile, embodied experiences and realities. The resurrected Christ eats lunch. There's a physicality even in the resurrection life. It makes me ask the question, we almost have to, because the question's interesting, like, is church in the metaverse an oxymoron? And I think people have a general sense for what the metaverse is, but I think the word church gets sort of pulled apart. Like, some people might say, well, yeah, you could listen to some music and watch a sermon in the metaverse, that's church, right? Or is the church the gathered people of God, and is the metaverse an actual gathering? So, I mean, you live in this world on your YouTube page, you do such a great job helping people sort of understand big ideas. How would you define church, just as a launching point to talking about its existence in the metaverse?
Yeah, I think so. A local church, just to think of like historic Protestant standards for what constitutes a local church, you would have to have the Word of God preached. You have to have the sacrament celebrated. And then there has to be some sense of membership, and that could include church discipline. Yep. So historically, Protestants have said church discipline is a mark of the church, and so there must be a sense of belonging. Yeah. We're members of this church, and so if today, there's a lot of people who maybe have become a Christian, maybe through a campus ministry, maybe they just never learned about that, and we can encourage them by just helping them to consider, if we leave off sacraments and church membership, we really are cutting ourselves off from Christian history, because those have always been so important. And I would just want to say one other thing. I'm curious if this sparks any thoughts with you, but I just want to encourage people not to see this as just a restrictive thing, like don't engage with technology, but as an invitation to the best kind of community that God built us for. I think there's so much loneliness right now in our culture. Yep. So many young men, for example, never have the chance to sit around in the living room and just share what's on their heart. Yeah. We're so busy, we're so distracted, and so we want to invite people into that kind of rich community in the church. Yeah,
I think you said the key word for me is belonging. But at its best, I think places like the metaverse, what they really do is deepen and broaden our hunger for the real thing. When here we are, away from home. We're both from California, and I FaceTimed my kids yesterday, and it was a wonderful leveraging of the tool at my disposal. But the thing it made me really want to do was go home in a couple days and hug my kids, in my real arms. And at its finest, I think that's what tools do, digital tools do for us. And so reminding ourselves, even if you are present in the metaverse, and churches can be present with information and this event and that or whatever else, to remind ourselves, really, this is just a pathway to a much deeper sense of belonging in a real embodied way.
Yeah, somebody once said social media is an okay supplement to real friendship and community, but a terrible replacement.